as a show.
Dang, that's a heartbreak. I guess when we
When did it?
passed it over, I'll look and see because it was recording at the beginning, but maybe because Marciela was just asking if it's being recorded. And I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, wait, where's the recording button? All right, we'll
All right,
see how much was recorded or not because that was a great presentation.
we'll start from the beginning. I'm
Yeah.
Judd.
Hey, you know what? As I said to you guys when you were doing this, um, guys, most of us are going to be looking for funding. Doesn't matter how much money we have now. So, doing a presentation like this and putting together your experience is a way of creating a really nice pitch deck for the very first. You know, they may go back and tweak some of these things, and maybe we will record it again. But you know, thank you, Kevin, for your offer. I'll keep that in mind. And basically, it's a when you give of yourself, you get back. They're articulating their dream and how they moved along, and that's helping them to get better clarity on where they're going to go in the future. So that's one of the things I just wanted to say. Thank goodness for pointing it out there, Marciela. All right, let's go on to the next question. No, I think Manya, what other questions did you have?
Yeah, they were just about to answer the distance question, the
Oh yeah,
remote.
sorry about that. Yep.
It's all good. So we are just so familiar in our area, and we also want to give back to our area. I work, I'm in education, I'm in administration, and so I see how much my staff struggle. They're all early intervention and early educators. So from 6 weeks old to 5 years old, they're making $15 to $17 an hour, but they're raising people's kids. They do the hardest jobs. They can't find housing. They just can't. They live paycheck to paycheck and still can't make it. So we actually moved one of our teachers in recently, and it's just really fun and powerful to see how this can change people's lives. And she didn't live in the projects, but she lived in a really rough apartment with a really hard landlord that did not take care of things. She had mold growing in different areas, but it's what she could afford for $800 a month. Now she lives in a beautiful home for $800 a month, everything included. So we're excited. We're excited to give back to our community, but we are not excited to invest in New York State. It's just a really difficult state to invest in. So it was always very fearful to invest out of state, and it's less fearful now as we become connected to all these amazing communities. So we are very excited and looking forward to taking co-living out of state. And I think we'll probably end up in Carolinas, Texas, maybe Florida. We don't know, but we will be looking out of state. We won't be doing this in New York State forever.
The biggest response that we get to people when we onboard them and they see their room and are welcomed in for $800 a month or whatever is thank you. That there's just such a need, and to give back to our own community was really important, and that the numbers look great in a spreadsheet, but that's not, that's only part of the reason why we're all real estate investors. And we share that, definitely with Sam and with Effie and Paige and so many of you. So, yeah. Does that
Thank
answer?
you. It does. Thank you so much. And do you meet them in person when you onboard, or did you in the beginning and now it's all virtual, or how do you kind of do that screening interview? Is there an interview process? And I'm sure you do background checks and credit checks, but
before we even start doing any background checks, it's a phone interview first. And first it's the video, then it's a phone interview. And the phone interview is great because we have a script and we just go through it, and it either works or it doesn't. If it works, then we do the background check. If they pass our criteria, then we go ahead and bring them to the house. And some people are like, well, I don't want to do that until I see the house. But if they really want it, they will do it. They will follow what you are setting forth and your expectations of that. And then we actually have a property manager, and she's a good friend of ours. She's not really a property manager yet. We give her 5%. So we're working our way up. She's learning with us, but she's growing with us as well. And we'll pay her more as we develop and evolve more. So it's a win-win situation. And we were meeting them, and like Judd said, it's too hard. We had to say, no, we don't want, we'll meet them here and there if need be. But now she does all of that, and that has been such a weight off of our shoulders because that emotional connection is very hard. it's very hard when they're calling, if they need something or the finances. She just takes it and she's wonderful.
Right. And the other thing, of course, is that Pace always tells us to work on our business, not in our business. And that is one of the critical differences. Are you meeting them? So if you don't meet them and you have somebody else meet them, then they're in the business and you're on the business. So,
but you are having the phone and video conversation with them, right? She's not doing that, or are you completely removing yourself from that?
Completely removing ourselves. So we were doing all of that. Again, this is our first co-living home, but this home, one of the things that we did not mention is this home got us in a financial position enough that Judd was able to walk away from his teaching job for a year. So that's huge. And we did not expect that to happen this year, but it did. And that's amazing. So now we are hands off. So he's committed to sub 2, and the co-living property manager is going to be the hands on the ground over at the co-living house as we build more. And she's learning the system. She's working with Sam's property manager so that she's bettering herself so that when we're ready to open up the next one, she's got it all in place. And, working with friends could be hard and maybe not the best way to do things, but for us, it has worked out really, really well so far.
Amazing. Thank you both so much. Incredible.
Come on, yeah. Tony, what's up? Tony's driving. Careful, Tony.
No, I'm not driving. I'm in the back seat. My friends are playing music. So I'm out in Northern California, and say like a studio right now is going for anywhere from $1,800 to $2,000, and a one bedroom is going for like 24, 25. And I seen on your guys' model that you guys are doing anywhere from 50 to 75% of the rent rate. At that point, what are you guys asking for a deposit? Are you guys doing first month, last month? What are you guys doing at that point?
We do New York State laws don't allow us to do first month and last month. So we do a security deposit that is $500 for everybody, regardless of room size, just to keep it neater with the books, and then the first month. We would love to do first and last month, but that's not allowed in New York State.
Okay, perfect. And this was another question someone else put in, but it put in my head was, what about Section 8 tenants or anything like that? Are you guys taking them in as well?
None of our
like for vouchers.
Yeah, none of our tenants right now, our housemates are on Section 8. It's going back and forth in the courts in New York State of whether we have to take Section 8 or not. We would be open to it if it's all about the person.
Okay.
So far, no, but
we'd be open to it. The hard thing with Section 8 is they come and they look at the house inside and out, and they may have concerns with the way.
True.
So
okay, perfect.
Not sure we're ready to open that can of worms, but we're not opposed to it as long as they meet, what we're asking for with the background check and credit check. Then we're certainly open to it. We just need to make sure that it would work for our area.
One of the legal challenges is the privacy issue with Section 8, and especially when you have 6 other roommates, and they're coming in to do an inspection every year it's tricky. We haven't worked it out yet.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are saying that because I was leaning towards Section 8, but as you guys are saying that, as I talk to you guys, or you guys telling.
You're cutting out on us, Tony.
Tony, you're cutting out on us. In our area, we've spoken to the Section 8 office, and they're really helpful. Not with this house, but with long-term tenant questions that we had. And so I would encourage you to reach out in your market and talk to them and see what options or what ideas they have.
We can't hear you, Tony.
Oh, I wasn't even talking. I was listening. Even better. Okay. Last.
Yeah. Maybe we can come back to him later if he's got better connection. Let's move on at this moment.
Sure. Olia, I can't see you, but it looks like your hand is raised.
Hi, guys. Can you see me now?
Nope.
No.
Oh, my goodness. I can see myself. Let me try turning it on and off again. But if it doesn't work, no, you'll just imagine me as a very beautiful woman.
She is a very beautiful woman. I have spoken with her. And she's also very modest. But we can hear you, Olia.
I can see myself. Oh, yeah, good. Sure. Well, my background, coincidentally. Yeah. I'll send you guys a screenshot where I can see myself. The background of my picture looks exactly like Carrie's. It's too funny. You'll see it. I'll send you a screenshot. First of all, thank you so much and congrats. I absolutely love the strategy of what you're doing, and I appreciate you sharing all information with us. I think this is a very smart strategy, and I'm wishing you all success, and hopefully you can build it out and make it big very quickly. Congrats on financial freedom. I'm sure big. What have you listened into yourselves? I was curious about things. One, so this is so.
Olia, you're also cutting out.
To change anything with the
Olia,
this house.
Wait, can you hear us, Olia?
Hear me now, Effie?
Okay, can you please speak more slowly? I hear you. Because you were cutting out.
Yes, sorry about that. I had two questions for you, please. One, since this house was purchased as a single family residential, did you have to change the zoning of this house?
No. Again, we looked at the jurisdiction's zoning laws, and this particular, again, it's on a busy road, and this particular stretch was really flexible with residential slash business slash multifamily.
I see. Thank you for that. And second question related to the insurance. Is the house covered under a typical home dwelling insurance plan, or is there special coverage for group homes?
It's under your insurance?
It's under my insurance, and it's under just traditional landlord insurance. And yeah.
The laws and insurance companies and banks and lenders are all catching up to co-living, especially as pad split becomes more popular and is sort of the legal voice for it. Again, we spoke with a gentleman last week who was from London, and they've been doing co-living forever, and there are all kinds of regulations built around it, and the states are just behind. So as far as what you do with insurance or zoning, it's kind of the Wild West right now, and you have to decide for yourself again how scrappy you want to be.
That makes sense. Thanks for that. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, before you go on, Tony just dropped in the chat directly to me that his last question was, can you share your membership model lease?
So Tony, you might have missed this part. We have traditional leases. So we have regular long-term leases with our 7 housemates. Going forward, we'll use the membership model. I haven't looked closely at a membership model agreement. I understand how it works. Sam Uyghur has talked about it, and we have access of being in his mentorship to his legal documents and his membership agreements. So I don't know if you could find those elsewhere or join Sam's challenge and see what he says, but we don't have anything that we can share at this point. Maybe in 6 months or a year we will.
Yeah, and we would be happy to if we had it.
So maybe Gladys next.
Gladys, please. Hi Gladys, thanks for your patience.
Hey, how are you doing?
Very well.
Beth and Judd, thank you so much for coming to share with us. I mean, that was really amazing.
Oh, you're welcome.
Just a little bit of background about myself. Actually, I have been in co-living for over 5 years.
Wow.
And I actually own about 10 group homes.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
The only big difference is that my population is a very, very low income. People on, not on Section 8, people on SSI, SSDI, Social Security. So I have a little bit more experience in that. I don't have any experience in your kind of tenants. I think they're kind of higher level. tenants. I'm a little bit afraid of that, I have to say, because I've had a little bit more challenges whenever I've had one in. So definitely I would like to learn from you. But the lower tier tenants, one on SSI, SSDI, I have a lot of experience on that. And if anybody wants some help on that, I've been pretty successful in that.
That's awesome, Gladys. And if you're game, let's connect, because maybe you can put a presentation together and talk about the differences and your own experience, because now you've got 5 years. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'd love to hear.
I know. Yeah.
The purpose of this Zoom series is to show how wide co-living is. Okay. It's not pad split. Pad split is a niche. And, you know, what Beth and Judd are doing is that's not what co-living is limited to. So I want to get different groups on that can talk to us, because this is just the beginning. And I think creativity is the only thing that really limits you for co-living, and the market. Because, you know, as you heard the Hoffmans say, they're looking for getting out of New York because of the restrictions. I get that. You know, but it would help us, Gladys, to know how you started in that, why you started in that, what your journey was like, where do you think the future is going to go?
A lot.
Well, we've been on here. I was thinking that these are going to be around an hour. Now, I know we got started a little bit late, but we are at an hour and a half. So, you know, I'll try to keep it around that, but these people are not tied here. They can leave any moment they wish. So I think there's interest.
Yeah. So anyway, I just had a question for Judd and Beth.
Sure.
How do you navigate fair housing laws? Because been in this field for a little while, it looks very discriminatory for you to say, hey, I am just looking for working professionals, single working professionals. That may get you in trouble with fair housing, because it means that you are basically choosing one group over the other. You're not giving everybody a fair shot. And because you're a landlord, you're bound by the fair housing laws. And especially if you get loans from Salime, you know, it's basically like part of the thing that you sign without reading when they give you a loan from Salime or Freddie Mac, that you're gonna follow the fair housing laws. So how have you navigated that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, I think that ties into the Wild West of the situation right now. Of that, the laws just haven't caught up yet. So we're very careful in how we advertise and to whom we advertise. At one point, we thought it'd be great to have all young working professionals, and then we had 60-something-year-old librarian want to live there, who was wonderful, and there was no reason to deny that person. So they were our first housemate. So we've opened up our eyes to that. We've had people interested who had kids, and we didn't deny them, but when we told them, you're again communicating the vision of the house, of you're sharing a house with 6 other adults who have passed the same background check as you, but are, until you get to know them, are strangers.
And again, as soon as you send out that video, they know exactly if they're interested or not. So you're not really discriminating, because again, we're part of an amazing community with Sam, and he has been kicked off Facebook a few times for violating certain words or terms. So we've learned through him, don't say this, don't say young, don't say professional. So we say that, but our ads do not say that. They're very basic. I think there has been words like-minded individuals, but we're pretty careful with that. We haven't had any issues with it. Again, it's the second piece. Once you gain interest and you send a video of, this is what a co-living home looks like, and the video says like-minded people, it doesn't say age or sex or race or any of that. A lot of times anybody that is not going to fit the box is not even going to respond after they look at the video.
Yeah, they more than likely will self-select because of the commonality. If they have a singular type of intent, then if they fit that intent, it doesn't matter if they're young, if they're old, if they're, the intent of the house will make sense. For example, if you are doing sober living, and you let people know, oh, this is what we provide, you're not very likely that you're going to get someone who doesn't need sober living services to say, well, don't discriminate against me, I want to be in there. I mean, maybe, but it's rare. So once you have the commonality of what is it that you're looking, that is the purpose of that house, then it speaks for itself, and you don't need to discriminate. Because I spoke with a lady who wants to do single moms. So she doesn't want married guys, but she doesn't need to say that, by explaining that each room is going to be adjacent to a child's room, it kind of lets you know that, do you really want to hang out with single mothers if you're a young dude? Maybe you do, but they don't want you. The point is that they self-select in many ways, but you do have to follow the laws, and you have to be careful.
Yeah, I think, and careful.
Sorry, you mentioned like a job transition in between jobs and recently separated, and I work in the divorce field. Do you infer that, or do you state that in your video or your ad?
No, that's just who's joined our house.
Yeah,
we don't advertise that. That's just how it's worked out as a common thread.
Okay.
I think Judd and Beth, I would suggest to go around that. You're losing up on the low income. They are really good tenants.
There's nothing wrong with them, and they're not losing out. I was a little bit upset yesterday when what's her name? Amy? Was that her name, who did the presentation on Pad Split? Said that, well, we're offering housing for a very deserving people. No, they're not losing out any more than those people are deserving, any less than anyone else. Everyone is deserving. So I think
what I mean is that if they can designate, say, one house.
Design it. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And frankly, I was going to jump in and say that
like to get around the fair housing thing, you can say, hey, maybe people who are Section 8 or low income, they're good tenants, you give them one house. Yeah. Then the working professionals are in another house. Yeah. Then be like, elderly people in another house. And for me, I have done that to get around that fair housing. We are fair, we just in different houses.
Right. Yeah. And then there is, and everyone can be a great member or a tenant, and they can also be a jerk. It depends. It doesn't have to do with who you are. It's got to do with, are you going to stick out like a sore thumb and feel uncomfortable? That's all. So I think we need to be a little careful about how we use our words on the groups that we talk about, because everyone is deserving. Everybody.
I'm excited to hear Gladys's presentation.
I know. I'm going to talk to her, and I'm going to get her to do it.
And then also, you need to be very, very knowledgeable about fair housing laws, because that basically keeps away the zoning. The zoning people may try to come at you, but if you know the fair housing laws, and if you just put maybe one person who has disability but can live there, the house is protected. So you have to know how to use the fair housing laws to your advantage, even if you have got people who are not necessarily covered by fair housing and disability act.
Great.
I love it.
Yep. Thank you. Definitely need to get you on here, and you can teach us some.
Well,
all right, Kim. Hi. Thanks for your patience.
Hey,
Hello. Thank you guys so much for doing this. It's been very informative. Thank you, Effie, too. I feel like mine are very basic questions because a lot of my questions were answered. Do you have to have 2 exits on your map of your house? You just showed one common exit. Is there for egress a need for 2 common exits in the house?
We have for us the windows can count as egress. All the houses or all the bedrooms have doors. We don't have, it's not a finished basement, but that's one of the issues that other people in our mentorship have run into, of having basement windows that are large enough to count for egress. Is that what you're talking about? The basement?
Yeah. And then I mean, because in a normal house you'd be able to open a door and get out that other exit. But if these are locked doors, you cannot get out. So you just have one door that's common to everyone, you know.
All of the rooms are on the first floor, so they can just open their window and walk right out if needed.
And the doors all open from the inside.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Okay, great. And then
get through again, floor plan is really important when you're looking for co-living homes. We do have 2 rooms upstairs. One, their window opens to a roof that they can get out. And then the second one, we made sure to give them an emergency ladder. So they have one of those, fire ladders to throw out the window. We do that in all of our properties just to make sure that we cover if there is a situation.
Yeah, I do that for my upstairs bedrooms in my houses for my kids and whomever, because it's just a thing for me. Because I know that sometimes people have had to create a stairwell, so you can get around it by having the just by having the ladder, huh?
Yep.
Brilliant. Okay, love that. All right. And then you said that you don't go into the individual's rooms. How do you know whether or not they're keeping it clean? You hear about it from another housemate?
People talk, smells travel. Smell talk.
Okay.
It hasn't been an issue yet.
Wonderful. Okay, that's good to know. Yep. Knock on wood. All right. And then you guys charge for these background checks. You charge the individual. It's not coming out of your pocket, right?
Again, in New York State only allows you to charge $20 or $25, something like that. But most of the platforms, apartments.com, for example, have that like a $25 option where they pay for it, but then they can also use it with any other apartment that they apply for within that platform.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, great to know. All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank
you so much. Nice to meet you.
You too, Kim. Okay, Effie, we have not been looking at the chat at all, so I don't know if there's anything in the chat.
No, that's good. That's good. I've asked them as we've gone along, pretty much. And I would like to say thank you so much to all of you, and particularly, obviously, Judd and Beth. We originally, when we did an organization meeting, just a small one, and we decided it would be on Saturdays at noon normally, EST. So I'm going to try to make it regular, and we were wondering about the how often we should have it. So I don't know. This is the very beginning seed, and I am very open to feedback. At this time, they had stated every 2 weeks, and that's fine. And if you guys want to do every week, that's fine. I've gotten pretty good at organizing Zooms right from when I had to do it with Gator at the very, very beginning, so I don't mind. And this is a professional Zoom. So, it can take as many people or stay as long as we want, which could be a problem because our first one was 2 hours long. I was like, whoa, I don't want to be like Pace quite yet. I don't have that stamina. But the reason I'm telling you this is that please feel free to reach out to me to give me feedback about what could be better besides making sure we record it. Mm-hmm. But and I'll figure out how bad that was later. And any thoughts at this time? And would anyone like to make a suggestion? Maricela, am I saying it right? Maricela?
Yes, thank you, Effie. No, that was great. And I'm sorry, my email, it showed that it's Central Standard Time for some reason. And because I'm in the Eastern Standard Time zone, that's why I joined at 1:30 versus 12:30. So I apologize for that.
That was my mistake. That was my mistake. And I don't know where I first loaded that because it won't let me edit. So I just kept putting it in the comments. Everywhere else I edited it. That was my error. My apologies.
No problem. I would love to connect with Jude and Beth. So do they have an Instagram handled, or I would love to check out their co-space or co-living video if they don't mind sharing that too. That will be great. When it comes to suggestions, I know you were asking about that. I love the 2 weeks. I see other people saying every week, but then I wonder if it's going to be too difficult to find people to come on and present. So I guess
that's not.
No? Okay, good.
I'm just scratching the surface of sub 2 because I am connected and people are open to me, but I thought we don't have anybody in sub 2, so I got to make it open to everyone, which I'm happy to do because you know what? The knowledge for me is coming from outside too. And same with Beth and Judd, it's coming from outside. So I don't mind leaving it open for everybody at all. But as I'm looking around, I am finding a fair number. So there may not be quite as far along, and then they will be more so. Hey, Sean, can I tell them? For example, are you going to come on camera?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Okay. I've asked Sean, and he's agreed. We're just trying to set the date on coming on because he has done 2 in Vegas, and he started with pad split, and now he's not with pad split. So it's interesting to see the different experiences. So actually, Maricela, I thought I might have an issue on how I can come up with people, but no. And then there's Sam's community also. So I don't have any problem saying, hey, does anybody want to come and talk to this new group where it's a case of us going up the curve together.
Yeah. I would, if we can jump in, I dropped my email and Beth's email in the chat. We're like barely getting started on Instagram, but probably Facebook is the best place to connect with us. And if you saw Effie's post, she tagged both Beth Hoffman and me, Judson Hoffman. So reach out, and then if you just reach out privately, we can talk about the video.
Okay, thank you so much, because this is where I'm going with this. With the co-living space, I'm exploring more on the internet. In the international, outside of the U.S., I'm looking in Mexico. Oh. And I know I share with Effie, I just acquired property last year in somewhere, and I would love to implement this outside of the U.S.
Cool.
So
awesome.
That's where everything's spinning in my head, because I'm really interested about it.
Yeah.
And so would love to touch base with you guys. Sorry, Effie.
Absolutely. And Maricela, the other thing is that there's someone in Sam's group that came from Europe, because in Europe, this has been going on for a much longer time. And I do like the idea of doing it in different areas. There also, in my research, believe it or not, Alberta, which is part of Canada, in case anybody doesn't know, was one of the places where in towns they brag that we have co-living. And so it is interesting. It doesn't have to be limited to just our borders. So yeah, but I warn you all, you now have a wonderful standard to live up to.
No,
Beth and Judd did a great job on that presentation. So yeah, let's see where we can take this thing.
Effie, can I
thank you.
Add something?
Yes, of course.
Sean, just thinking about whenever the time slot is right for me to plug in and share my story, it'd be great to know. I think everyone might want to hear if anyone can contribute their thoughts to you ahead of time, and I can kind of turn the direct whatever I have to present, address those either in specific, because it's less important about what I think you want to know versus what you really would like to know.
Anytime, guys, you want to send questions to me, that's why I'm trying to build an email list. I want you to be able to receive the notices and be able to talk, like drop stuff in. No problem. I don't have any problem with someone saying, I'd like to hear about this from this individual if they're coming on. However, I'll tell you something I've learned from my podcast, which is every Monday and is not, it's related to co-living in that I brought Sam on and I may bring other people on in the future, but it's really about anyone and everyone in real estate. And that podcast is going to continue. This series of Zoom that we're doing are specifically for co-living. But what I learned is in my first podcast, I thought the same thing, Sean. I said, let me go to my audience. And I was having Abraham Gray, which is a really high net worth person, not only in money, but in experience. So I did that. And it didn't become my podcast, and it didn't become Abraham's podcast. It became very disjointed. So I don't mind, throwing the questions to the person who's going to present and say, choose to address. But I want it to be the person who is presenting their experience, because that's what we can learn from. Sure, we learn from each other's questions too, right? But in order to get consistency, I think the best thing is to give it to the person who is going to be presenting. Myself. That's my limited experience is said so far. But thank you for being open, and I definitely will take questions, guys. Absolutely. Anyone else have anything before we sign off on this inaugural Zoom? Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to do one favor, and you know what it is. Take the screenshot and go into Sub2 and talk about the series of Zooms that I'm hosting. And that if people would like to join us, to please do so. And if half of you do it, I get 4 or 5, it will help, because I know that there are more people who want to do co-living than I initially thought in Sub2. And right now, most of them think, oh, I got to find a C- property or C. They think it's got to be pad split, and it doesn't. So let's see if we can, open the field. That's my only goal. Any other comments or suggestions? All right, well then get your screenshots, and if you are game, if you're not, that's okay. And I want to say thank you so much to Beth and Judson. If you guys could say thank you to them, that is.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to begin. This is amazing. Thanks.
All right.
Got it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Effie.
Thank you. I'm going to say, I think you have to end it.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Bye, everyone.